Hello, this is Craig Brailsford with RedChip Companies. Thank you for joining today's event with Bimergen Energy Corporation, which trades on the OTC under the ticker BESS. With us today, we have Bob Brillen, the CFO and co-CEO of Bimergen, Cole Johnson, President and co-CEO, and Benjamin Tran, Executive Chairman of the company. We will begin with a brief presentation in a moment, and then we will answer your questions. Users may submit a question at any time. Click the Q&A button at the bottom of the Zoom window. Before we begin, please allow me to read the Safe Harbor Statement. This call may contain forward-looking statements within the meaning of the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. All statements pertaining to future financial and/or operating results, along with other statements about the future expectations, beliefs, goals, plans, or prospects expressed by management, constitute forward-looking statements. Any statements that are not historical fact should also be considered forward-looking statements. Of course, forward-looking statements involve risks and uncertainties. I now turn the webinar over to the Bimergen team. Gentlemen, please go ahead.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bob Brillen, the co-CEO and Chief Financial Officer for Bimergen. And wanted to start out today, before we jump right into the presentation, I want to kind of give you a summary, an elevator pitch, if you will, just to get started. We're a developer operator of utility scale battery farms. These are battery facilities. These batteries are the size of small tractor trailers. They're on 10 to 30 acres, and they also have, I guess, what you would call the grid interconnections that give us exact interconnections to the grid utility scale. The business is energy arbitrage. So what we're doing is capitalizing on balancing the grid. It's across the United States. We have 23 different projects. We purchased these projects back in 2024. We have them on our books for about $20 million. The market value of these is right now about $150 million. We also have about 100 megawatts per typical project. These projects cost about $125 million per project to build. The milestone we're going to talk about is the $250 million of project equity capital that has been committed. That's what puts us in a perfect position to go forward. This allows us to get a $1 billion plus in debt for our financing of these projects for the construction and the batteries themselves. The last piece of the puzzle is going to be management team, because we have a been there, done there management team, and we're going to talk about that as we go into the presentation. As we talked about, this is the first slide. We have 23 projects. It's about 2 gigawatts worth. 250 million in capital committed, as we said. The offtake agreements are important because this secures our revenue stream. This also makes it less risky for our shareholders and our debt partners, because that offtake agreement is a guaranteed floor, but we also share the upside. 100% of our project financing is done outside of the public company. It's done at the project level. What this does is it helps us not dilute the public company, but actually have tremendous operations at the project level, those 23 different projects. One piece I didn't bring up earlier was a 50% investment tax credit, up to the 50% investment tax credit. This is important because when you're running the numbers on these projects, you put 125 million into it, you then get to take 60 to 65 million dollars back in investment tax credits. That goes to pay down the loan that you got initially from your tier one financing group. You then have the key partnerships. Again, that's the last piece of the puzzle that is important about Bimergen. Our team has these relationships and has had these relationships for many, many years. Here you see just a depiction of the 23 projects and where they're at. Over half the projects are in the Texas area. Another significant amount over in California. This slide lets you know that there's going to be no saturation here. The demand is growing for the balancing of the grid. What that means is there's more and more with AI, data centers, there's more need for power. During the day, this power is getting used. We have the generation that's happening from the transmission, or excuse me, from the solar and from the wind, and that's being then stored into our batteries. Then in the evenings, when there's not enough supply, that's taken back to the grid. Here's a good depiction of it. You have the power generation, then you have the power transmission straight to the grid, but also it comes off into our batteries during the day. We have the tolling agreements in place, and these are with tier one tolling partners. And these guys do the bidding and selling on a daily basis. They've done this for many, many years. They, of course, take their percentage for doing this, but it keeps us from having to have the risk of taking, our own team doing this and taking the risk of not doing it properly. The BESS development process and progress. What this shows you is when we bought those 23 projects, they had gone through the feasibility studies and then had gotten partway through the development process. So they're getting close to the ready to build status, and several are within, a few weeks of actually getting there. So we can actually break ground. Our strategic partners are shown here. You've got RelyEZ, you've got EOS, and you got Gotion. Those are all battery manufacturers. These are very good relationships for us. As we talked about earlier, 50 million of the capital that has been committed is from RelyEZ. EOS is going to be a great partner for us. They are a domestic zinc-based battery manufacturer, and we have some great relationships there and expect to do more with them in the future. And then we have Gotion, who has tremendous battery facilities actually being built here in the United States, but they also are from China. Cox is our $200 million partner that has committed to the upfront project equity capital. They have a relationship with Gotion that they have had for many years because they have many, many gigawatts around the United States and also around the world. Long-term tolling agreements, we talked about it, that equals guaranteed revenue floor. That's important for us because we know what our revenue streams will be for sure. But at the other point, we also know that we get the above the floor, we get to share in. Give you an example. If there's an ice storm, there's a lot of draw, or there's some new manufacturing facilities built or data centers built in a certain area. Well, there's a lot of draw on that grid, but now when we buy low, sell high, we then get to have that higher margin. As you see over here, we talked about the power generation, the transmission, but then it goes to a group like Tenaska. That's our tolling agreement. They're the ones that do the bid and sell on a daily basis. Here we just have a case study of one of our projects. What it shows you is 100 megawatts, again, up to a 50% tax credit. There's $125 million approximately for this project to get it into the ground. The important part about this slide is the key partners, because we have all these partners in place. As you can see, these are some very well-known individuals. These are the areas that we've talked about throughout here. Tax equity partner we haven't talked about, that's Marnark. An off-taker, Goldman Sachs, and then Tenaska. Then we have our other partners up here, EOS, Cox, RelyEZ. This is the stack that makes it happen for us and for you as a shareholder. The typical project level capital stack is this. The key piece of this is the majority of your costs of the 125 million go into equipment. As you can see, about $90 million goes into this equipment, which is mostly the batteries themselves. Board of directors, executive management, as I said, it's a been there, done that team. This is why most people invest, is it's a group that can get it done. We've got Cole Johnson, who is our president. He has been in this, and our co-CEO. He has been in this business for many, many years, understands this energy industry. And myself and Ben have been in the capital market for again, many, many years, as you can imagine. And, we're excited about where this is going. I came out of retirement actually because I can see what's happening here. This is a business model that makes sense for everybody. It's very simple. Buy low, sell high. Here we have our balance sheet, and really the majority of it is the assets that we bought. $23 million is showing in our total assets. The majority of that is those 23 development projects that we purchased. The cap table is about close to 4 million shares outstanding now. Got 1.4 in options that are out there, so 5.2. So as you can, our market cap, again, not sure where we close today, between 8 and 9 probably. And at that point, you're looking at a 32 to $35 million market cap. Again, just the investment highlights. The key point is we already have 23 projects. That's 2 gigawatts worth. And again, as I mentioned, the 100 megawatt can throw off about $25 million of revenue per year. That means 2 gigawatts when those are in the ground. That means we're at 400 million annual revenues. We have the contracted tolling agreements that we'll be setting up to de-risk this for everyone. The project financing and the investment tax monetization makes this a very simple project. $250 million of strategic capital already committed. We have key relationships already in place with our suppliers, with our financiers. That's including the tier one financiers with over $1 billion. The market tailwinds, that's all about what's happening in the industry. You see it every day in the news, how AI, how data centers, everybody is eating up this power. And this is where they're going to need batteries to even things out and make things work. With that, we'll be happy to take any questions you might have.
Thanks, Bob. Press the Q&A button if you would like to ask a question of the Bimergen team. The Q&A button is in the middle bottom of your Zoom window. There will be a text box after you click the Q&A button. As we can take only your written questions today, we ask that you please not use the raise hand button. Thank you very much. We already have some questions submitted here, gentlemen. Why do you have co-CEOs instead of one?
Well, the key reason is because Cole and I are really a yin and yang. We both have our own capabilities and talents. We really needed 2 people that are gonna run this thing. I've always done the capital markets. I've always worked on the finance side. Cole himself, he's also been a CEO, on his own, but at the same time, he knows the industry. He knows the operations. So it really made sense to kind of split it up, divide and conquer, if you will.
Will the Redbird project be the expected first of the 23 orders you expect to close?
Yes. Redbird is one of the projects that we expect to close next year. We run just like a lot of other groups where we will go out to the market and bring on other projects to fit alongside of our packages. So we're currently evaluating not only Redbird, but other projects to sit alongside of it.
Perfect.
Simple question here. When do revenues begin?
Revenues will begin. Well, that's an interesting question because there's several revenue generating pieces to this. For sure, 2026. There could be some revenues in 2025 because part of our project, the development projects we have, as those get put into joint ventures, they can generate development project fees that come back to Bimergen. But at this point, it'd be easiest to say, and most conservatives say it would be early 2026 will be our first revenues.
How many other companies like BESS are out there?
Cole, can you take that one?
Yeah, there's a few groups like Bimergen out there. A few of them pretty much run private. Where we're a little unique from other groups is we're not strictly focused on technology. We partner up with top tier technology groups and partnerships, as you've seen on a future slide. I believe that helps us get above the other groups, right? Because we're well-proven technologies. So in short, there's not a lot of groups exactly like us in the public market, but there is some on the private side.
Thanks, Cole. What would be the result if the tax benefits were removed?
It would make the revenue model more difficult. You would not have as high of a investment or internal rate of return. But at the same time, it's nice that the investment taxes they've been removed for like solar and wind, but the administration and I believe future administrations are going to see that battery only helps. It's not a renewable energy. It's actually helping balance the grid. They've seen that, and that's why they actually put it into place and have extended it to at least 2033. We expect to see it beyond there.
When does Bimergen expect to begin placing orders for batteries, and what are the biggest obstacles? Do you see regulations easing over time?
I'll take that one, Bob.
Sure.
For our, the batteries, VOC, we have the initiative to place those batteries before the end of the year. I believe the industry is screaming into the United States for battery manufacturing. So they'll start qualifying for U.S. made in the future years. But we plan on making our FIOC and satisfying that this year, and then dovetailing into next year, making sure that we're qualifying for U.S. made batteries.
And of course, we're already working with EOS, who is American made.
You mentioned 50% CapEx write-off. Why not 100% with new tax law?
Well, it's not. I'm not really talking about the write-off. It's really the credit. You're right. There is a write-off, but that's not cash. The investment tax credit, we actually can monetize that and get that money back right away, or as soon as you hit operations, and really taking that debt that you've put in place to pay for the batteries and pay all that debt down. So really reducing your debt service really within months after getting those batteries in place.
Of the 100 megawatts of battery storage for Redbird and other projects, how much will be supplied by EOS?
Really,
Well, we
those
are at this point battery agnostic, and so we will do projects on a project by project basis. We have not allocated to any one certain battery at this point, but we believe EOS is a very good partner for us.
What is the status of BESS on New York Stock Exchange listing?
It's really something that we're not allowed to talk about right now. It's out there in our S1 that we are looking to uplist to the New York Stock Exchange, but we really can't talk about timing at this point.
What went into selecting EOS as your initial battery supplier? What advantages caught your organization's attention?
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I believe EOS is really on the cutting edge of um, bringing, that technology to fruition. They're well proven, very financeable. Um, I think that EOS, like mentioned before, will be a good partner. And, like Bob said, there's certain situations where we'll use other batteries. But yeah, we'll definitely long duration look to partner up with EOS.
What caused the stock drop from 10 to as low as 6 and to close around 8 today?
That's that is anybody's guess. It is the stock market. It's who buys, who sells. We are a very thinly traded stock at this point. That's what causes it to move very erratically because we're on the OTCQB. But that's what we're hoping to change when we do an uplist to New York Stock Exchange. Then we will definitely have a lot better volume there. You'll have a lot more people that can actually get into it. You have institutions that can now get into it. And with this type of a model, and when people can understand how simple it is, how we're going to make money, and that we've been in the capital markets, we understand how to communicate to the world how we're doing, what we're doing, then which you have to do as a public company because you don't just make profits and they will come. You have to communicate to your investors how you're doing and what you're going to be doing over the next few years. And we will be doing that.
What about needs for cash and also future dilution?
Well, right now, as we said earlier, the needs for the project equity cash is being taken care of. We just signed up the 250 million. That gets us, over $1 billion. For the 23 projects in total, we'll need about $2 billion, but that gets us a long ways down the road. So, and what happens on these is it cycles, because when you have your project equity capital in there, you bring in your debt, that project gets moving, it gets refinanced because now you've taken out a good portion with the ITC. You can now refinance that with debt and not have to have your project equity there. That project equity can move on to the next project down the road. So we'll have plenty of cash to do these projects. Obviously, we're always looking for additional partners. We never want to be beholden to any one, and it's great now that we have several in place. On the public company side, as we put out there on our S1, it's only about a $12 million raise, and that's really to get our uplist to NASDAQ, or excuse me, to New York Stock Exchange. And that, of course, as everybody knows, that can be used as currency in the future. If we want to do some acquisitions, whether it be of projects, technology, etc., it'll be there for us. But related to dilution, we're only going to do dilution when it makes sense. And right now, as you can see, our market cap, we believe, is very undervalued compared to even the development projects that we have on our books. Once we have those development projects into operations, we believe the market cap will go where it needs to go. And so you'll see that the stock per share will be much more valuable than it is today. But that is a forward-looking statement.
How many 2 gigawatt pipelines are expected to be built? When will they be built? And how many are under construction?
Right now, none of our projects are under construction. They've all been in development. We are right at that precipice of being able to break ground. We hope on some of these it will actually happen possibly before year end. And so the 2 gigawatts, how long will that take? It's not going to happen over a 2-year period, but it's not going to take 8 years either. So it's really how much can we get done per year, and using the financing we have in place. We really don't have any real restrictions on us right now. It's just moving those forward. So best guess, it'd probably be in that 5 to 6 year time frame to get all 2 gigawatts built.
What are you looking at for average duration for each of the 23 projects? 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours?
Um, yeah, our projects are, we select both the technology and the application of the battery per node. So it just really depends on the node and where we're at. As mentioned earlier, we do have our 2 gigawatts. We're pretty bullish on our 2 gigawatts of those being prime projects. We do expect to put those projects on with other projects to fill in some gaps. So that's always a moving target, right? It's really based on the node.
Reminder to everyone to reach the team here. Press the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom window, and then type in your question in the text box. We'll give everyone a moment to devise any questions for the team. We still have one here. What can you share about your Volkswagen-backed battery maker and your domestic zinc supplier? Do you have guaranteed supply?
We're navigating through that right now. I would say that we're expected to get those in the coming months. And if you're meaning supply, did we sign supply agreements? We're navigating through that process right now.
With AI and data center demand straining the grid, what federal initiatives are you seeing accelerating the energy storage markets, and how are you best positioned to lead the modern grid market?
Cool.
Yeah, that's a 2 or 3 part question, but
Yes, it
I'll
is.
do my best. We're working with a lot of the data centers, some of the major players out there to make our projects well positioned. We constantly view the grid in data centers and new developments and stuff like that. So we're very active on making sure that we're capturing that deal flow as data centers get built, plus advancing some of our projects. So it's a 2 or 3 prong approach.
And one thing just to add to that, it's because I've heard Cole say this in other presentations we've done, is he's always out there looking for the pinch points. So looking for the areas where there's going to be an issue before there even is an issue. And that's how we decide where we're going to do one of the next projects.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Does Bimergen expect to grow employee headcount? What functions are you looking to take in-house to grow the team?
We are going to keep it very, very lean because we really don't have to have our trading desk or anything like that. Cole has a group underneath him of key people that he already has brought on board, but also he's also said, okay, as soon as we start going into operation on more and more of these projects, we'll start filling that team out. Cole, is there any specific positions that you'd say that is going to be important?
Now, that might be an employee application issue, but yeah, no, we're going to definitely grow. I see the industry growing, but as mentioned, we definitely have those third parties that do help us. So we're able to, not grow our head count as massive as some groups. And we're just, we're well positioned with our third parties. So we'll sub a lot of that stuff out.
Exactly.
What are the risks of technology obsolescence? For example, new battery chemistries, degraded performance over time, warranty issues.
Well, I mean, one thing I know that, and again, Cole can back me up on this, is we really expect we're going to be putting the top-notch batteries in place now. The best technology, the ones that have been proven, the ones that we know the degradation over time. But at the same time, we also know 5 years from now, 3 years from now, there's going to be new technologies. So we'll be then using those. And then what's interesting is when these original batteries run out, 15 to 20 years from now, then we'll be having those new technology batteries plug and play into a facility that's already been there. So this isn't something that just lasts for a certain amount of time. The construction and everything that you put in place is going to be there for decades. But at the same time, you'll be bringing in new technologies. Maybe the batteries that today last 15 to 20 years, the next ones may last 30 years. So again, it ends up being and again, it's what's the price of those batteries going to be? Is that going to come down? Is there going to be technology that's going to find a way to actually make these batteries cheaper, better, stronger? Well, that's what we've seen in many industries. So that's what we're hoping for here. Cole, did you have anything else that's?
No, I think you covered it good, Bob.
Thank you.
As some addition, we are in the process of investigating some additional advanced technology in battery. We're in the process of putting together a future roadmap to be adaptable to the ever-increasing change of this battery environment, and technology keep on evolving. So we have that in our action item.
What are the regulatory and permitting risks? For example, local zoning, environmental approvals, grid interconnection.
Well, and again, Cole can talk to it more. He's in more detail, but as I've looked through these development projects that we purchased, that's what it takes them a year and a half to get through, is understanding all these permitting issues, understanding the environmental issues, understanding the interconnection, how much the grid can take at that certain place. That's when we buy a development project and we pay $20 million for those projects, all that work's already been done. And you now are ready to go into the next phase. So we're excited that most of that work's already been done for us, and that we, again, one of the things that they have on their checklist, what are the fatal flaws? Is there anything that's going to stop this from going forward? Let's do the investigation now so we don't get down to the end and find out, hey, this isn't going to work, guys. So a lot of that work has already been done.
When partnering with EOS, what duration seems to be the sweet spot or most in demand?
Yeah, every situation and every node's a little bit different. EOS, for any long duration, we've seen them do very good and have very good performances. As far as the EOS, I think that we try to put them on strategic spots for either long duration, or, government related contracts.
Has the BridgeLink MSA with EOS been subsumed into Bimergen with the acquisition?
We're
Go
we're
ahead.
navigating through, the relationship with EOS, and we're excited about it. I think that's news to come. So that's kind of where we need to leave that question.
Are you going to use software that EOS is producing, such as Dawn OS?
Yeah. I mean, I think the good thing about our group is we don't blanket anything really. We look node by node. We put a recipe, so call. That's what we call it, right? For different areas, different places, different solutions. As mentioned, we know EOS. We've worked with EOS. We enjoy the partnership with EOS, and see that whether it's battery or technology, we do that case by case. So,
how many of your projects currently have tolling deals in place? And can you speak to how those revenue floors and upside sharing terms help de-risk development for you?
Sure. All the tolling agreements are all in negotiation on several projects. We don't have anything actually in place yet because as we mentioned, we have not yet broken ground on any of our projects. But we also have been negotiating with Tenaska and others for these tolling agreements. We have not made public as to, and we probably won't for competitive reasons, as to what those floors are and even what the spreads are.
Where do you see our stock situated when we're on the New York Stock Exchange in the near future?
Not sure I understand the question about stock situated. And again, that's a loaded question. Nobody can really answer where are we going to be. It's going to, we plan on doing our best to get the word out there, to get as many people aware of Bimergen, and that includes institutional investors, because as you can imagine, as an OTC stock, we have no institutions in there right now. In the past, different companies I've been involved with, you bring the good institutions on that really all they care about is management going to execute to what it says it's going to manage or going to execute on? And those institutions will not only hold, they will increase their position as you execute. And that's our prime goal, is to do what we say we're going to do, make money for the company and make money for our investors.
Does the company plan to hold assets long term, generate steady cash flow, or sell assets after commissioning, monetize value? What is the monetization strategy?
Yeah, the company does plan on being an operator. So we do plan on putting these in place and operating so that we will have cash flows coming in from the actual operations. As we were talking about, it can be in the range of $24-25 million a year per 100 megawatt project on an operating basis. Now, that's not to say that we won't ever take a project at some point and say, okay, it makes sense to go off and sell this group of projects. And it's all economics, as you can imagine. We come in and somebody says, hey, I've built this group over here in Southeast Texas, and I'd like your 3 projects you have over here, and this is what I'm willing to pay you for it. If it makes economic sense for our shareholders, we sure will do it.
Do you have a project in the pipe that you will be able to announce this year?
I believe you will be. I guess the best way to say that is stay tuned. Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. We've exhausted the questions in our queue. Would you like to end up, gentlemen, with a final word? Why should anyone be interested in Bimergen Energy right now?
Sure. I mean, it's one of those pieces where this company is as ground floor as you get. And that's when you look at it and you say, gee, where's their market cap? What's on their balance sheet? It's just not relevant to reality at this point. So when you look at what we really have, the capability we have, and the pieces that are already in place, when you look at a company that has a lot farther to go, they have a year of building these puzzle pieces, and then they're going to do something. That's where we're ahead of the game. All the puzzle pieces are there. Now we're at that precipice of execution. So when is the right time to get into a stock? It's right before it's going to head north.
All right. We'll wrap it up right here then, gentlemen. Thank you very much. And of course, thank you very much to our many dozens of participants today. For more
Awesome. Thank
information,
you.
yes, Bob, great job. Let me just do a quick outro so that people know how they can get even more information about this great company. For more
Sure.
information on Bimergen, you can call us, of course, at 1-800-REDCHIP or email us at bess@redchip.com. Please visit the excellent informational page created by RedChip just for Bimergen Energy. It's bimergeninfo.com. There you can view and download the investor presentation and fact sheet. You can sign up for news alerts on Bimergen. Watch Small Stocks, Big Money, RedChip's program featuring exciting small cap companies, every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern on Bloomberg USA. And finally, join RedChip's next webinar with Prophase Labs on Tuesday, November 18th at 4:15 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Register for all RedChip webinars at redchip.com/events. Thanks again to our many participants today. And thank you, Bob, Cole, and Ben.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.